Sánchez, on behalf of IDRA, we want to thank you for allowing us the opportunity to visit with you today. To start with, can you please give us a synopsis of your professional career?
I've been in the field of education for approximately 32 years. During that time, I spent most of my career in the classroom. I enjoyed being in the classroom and spent approximately 20 years there, more or less. And then I had the opportunity to go into a central office position, and I became a dual language strategist for our district. And I stayed there for a couple of years, and then I was moved on and became an AP at one of the elementary campuses here at PSJA. And I stayed there for about 7 years, and 4 years ago I was given the opportunity to come to Gus Guerra Elementary, and I've been serving as the campus leader here for the last 4 years.
Good. Can you share a little bit about the conceptual framework of your school as far as the student population, your teachers, your staff, your parents, your community? Can you give us a summary?
Sure.
You know?
Gus Guerra Elementary is a school in South Texas. It's typically called a border community area that I serve, and I serve about 650 students. It varies from day to day, but that's basically my average. And the students that I serve are students that come from colonial homes, and so most of them are economically disadvantaged. Over 90% of my students are economically disadvantaged. Most of them are at risk, about 90% more or less. I serve about 60% ELL population, and a very large migrant population also comes to my campus. So I have a lot of students that are also very mobile in the community that I serve. You know, they come late during the year, and they may leave early during the year as well.
Okay. And how many teachers do you have?
I have approximately 40 professionals, but including the faculty and everybody else that contributes to the running of the school, it's about 70 adults that work with the students.
All right. What actions do you undertake to improve excellence and equity at your school for your students?
Well, I think it all begins by being reflective and examining where we're at. We have to look at our successes and also look at our failures and see our challenges as well. And basically it begins with looking at our needs and assessing where are our needs. And it can change from year to year. And 4 years ago when I got here, we looked at our needs and we looked at our population, and one of the things that we said is we have to look and make sure that we're providing a quality instruction for every child, regardless of where they're coming from, regardless of any roadblocks that may be in their educational path. We need to look at them and we need to see what can we do. So it all goes back to looking at our data. And we look at our results, and that's what drives, you know, our change, whatever we need to do for that particular year.
So when we came this particular year, and even in the last 2 years, which areas did we mainly focus here at your school?
Well, one of the things that we looked at is that we looked and we saw that we needed, first of all, our children need language development. So one of the things we said is we need to work on academic vocabulary. We want to make sure that our children have that exposure to that vocabulary that is so important and so crucial. We also looked and we saw that our children needed to have an opportunity to work in the area of the sciences in particular. That was one area that we were really struggling. And we also looked at, you know what, we also needed to change our delivery of instruction in some way. We needed to make it more of instruction where it's more student-centered versus a teacher-centered. So we kind of worked on all those areas at the same time and see what we could do when we coached and mentored and worked with IDRA.
Okay. When we were coaching and mentoring, we actually worked on demonstrations of lessons that were engaging of the students. Correct. When you came and actually you participated in the demo lesson, because all your teachers came to Correct. Observe us doing the demonstration, what did you notice in your students as well as in your teachers?
Well, first of all, I saw the children being so receptive, being so engaged. And so there was no downtime. There was no time when the children were not, you know, active and they were participating with the lesson. My teachers also saw that, you know what, this is very doable. What they were seeing was something that they could easily replicate. And that's one thing that when we initially set up our plan with IDRA, we wanted to go from not just going from theory and just having a staff development session like we've had in the past, where the teachers go and they hear someone, a great presenter, they share a great idea, but then they go back to their classroom and may not know how to fully implement. We went from hearing the great theory to seeing it in action when you work with them, and then went to the coaching and mentoring, where you actually have the teachers go in there and do the same thing and model in their own classroom. So we got to see it from the very beginning, from the theory all the way to the full implementation where we're at this stage.
And one of the things that I know that you provided me the opportunity to do was, not only did I do it in one classroom, but I did it in other classrooms as
Correct.
well. So that the teachers of those particular students saw the interaction that we had, and then they were able to replicate it in their own classroom.
And I think that was very important, and we did it for a reason. And one of the reasons was that every classroom is different, and every classroom is composed of different types of students. And a great idea can still be adjusted, and tweaked just a tad, so it can be even better and meet the needs of that particular classroom. So they got to see that great strategy that you came and you shared with us being replicated in many different classrooms with many different types of students. But we saw the same thing. We were seeing children that were engaged and the children that were being successful. And that's what we want, to make sure that every child is successful.
Great. So how do you view teaching quality and curriculum quality in fostering an equitable education for all students?
I think that's the key. I think if the teacher is equipped and empowered, she will go and do. I think that every teacher wakes up in the morning with that philosophy that I'm going to go and I'm going to do the best that I can. And sometimes they work and they work really hard. But at the end of the day, they look back and say, you know what, did I really make a difference? And when we provide quality instruction, they can walk out of their classroom at the end of the day and say, I made a difference today. And I think it deals with your curriculum, first of all, but it also deals with the quality and delivery of the instruction. And I think that's what we're doing right now, working on the quality and the delivery to make sure that it's meaningful lessons occurring every day, and that our children are getting the most from those lessons, where it's lifelong learning.
That's right. And the good thing about that is also that then the students can take that knowledge and apply it
Correct.
to real life situations.
Yes.
and at home as well.
Yes.
One of the things that I know that we also wanted to focus on was how do we put together what we call a camp, our STAR camp.
Yes.
And I remember last year we, at IDRA, we created all the activities, and we came and actually we had a session with the teachers, and we actually have the teachers help us in the different centers that we have created, and they actually took ownership at that point. But this year, when we came in, and I remember vividly at the beginning of the school year, we actually identified the areas of need, and then we created the activities with the teachers. Actually, we identified the areas of need, and then they went with us to the lab, and we started creating then the activities for each of the centers. And then that way they took ownership in the development of the activities, and then we helped them in putting it together. But in essence, the teachers actually produced the information, and we just modified it in certain ways, and then they came and they actually did it. Can you tell us a little about what you experienced in that
Well, I think
activity?
we've gone through a process of evolution from the very beginning of being very dependent on your guidance to the point where the teachers have felt very comfortable with the strategies that have been shared, to the point where they feel autonomy, that they can do it themselves, they can be independent and just have your supervision and your guidance and, of course, your recommendations. But I've seen the teachers in that sense take more ownership. And, we were very successful in the sense that, the children enjoyed the camp. It was a good review. And we're already thinking of how to even improve for next year. We'd like for the teachers to not only work with the students and have them go through the camp, but have the students teach their parents, what they have learned, and have them become the teachers. So I think that these camps have grown to great ideas, and in reality, even the other grade levels are talking about the camps, thinking that they would like to do something like that to review not just science, but maybe review something for math or any other area that they feel that children would benefit from having an activity like that. It's just a fun way to review material that they need to review.
Great. So what has been the most valuable outcomes that you have seen with this collaboration between IDRA and Gus Guerra Elementary?
Well, I think one of the things is we're starting to see a lot of a higher level of student engagement, okay? So that means meaningful learning, learning that you will remember. Our district is working with different initiatives, and one of them is classroom talk, making sure their children are having opportunities to talk and that they're actively engaged, that they're having leadership groups, that they're given opportunities to write about what they're learning. So one of the things that we're seeing is that the activities that IDRA has shared with us have led to a lot of student engagement. And that in turn will lead to students being able to recall those lessons because they're meaningful lessons now. So the level of engagement has really increased.
One of the things that I like about when I come to the school is the sense of family. Is the actual atmosphere, the culture in this school is very engaging in itself. It's very inviting. You know, when we come here, we feel like we're at home. And I know that I can see that in the teachers that they feel the same way. Can you expand on that?
Well, I think school is a family. We spend so much time with each other. And with a family, we celebrate our successes, and we also cry with our failures. And one of the things is we also hold each other up when we feel we're about to fall. And I think if we have that camaraderie, not just within our own grade levels, but across the campus, you can feel it as you walk in. And I think it's slowly being transformed to the point where our parents can feel that way. They feel that they can come in and that, you know, they can talk to us as a family, share their concerns, share their questions, their, you know, their uncertainties at times. But I think transforming your school also involves transforming just the culture of the school, seeing that things can change, because working with certain populations is difficult. But if we can all believe that our children can learn, we can transmit that. And when we are frustrated, it's like, okay, I had a bad day, but tomorrow's going to be a lot better. And we talk about it. We talk about how can we make it better. Better for ourselves, but also better for our students and better for our parents and our community.
Mm-hmm. And I noticed that this past week it's been Bosses Day, and the students have been just coming at you with all kinds of gifts for you. But I know that you had done the same thing for them, because I see bikes here. I see that you reward them, and you're constantly, you know, considering and how they are progressing, and even with little things that to them mean a lot. And so that way they think, well, you know what, even if it's for popcorn or for whatever else that Ms. Sanchez is going to give me, I'm going to strive and I'm going to do better. Tell us a little bit about what you experienced this week.
Well, it is, like you said, Bosses Week, and we do this because we love it. But it feels so good when a child comes to you and just gives you a hug and tells you thank you. And it could be for simple things that at times they may seem insignificant, but in the eyes of a child, they're so meaningful. And a simple thing like being recognized for, you know what, you caught me being good, and you acknowledge, you know, that I was being good, that I was in line, and that, you know, that I was looking where I needed to look, and that I was using my quiet voice. So one of the things that I try to do is find kids doing what I appreciate them doing, and letting them know that I caught them being good. Because it's so easy to catch them not doing what they need to do, but it means so much when you do acknowledge that they're doing what they should be doing, and that you saw it and you appreciated it. And it's one of the things that I'm trying to interject to my staff, that we need to acknowledge even those little tiny steps and build on those little tiny steps. Because we need to build our students up, and we can do it with a simple smile. We can do it with just a simple thank you, a little hug or a pat on the back means so much to the children. And we do a lot of little things. We buy little trinkets here or there. You know, we buy little snacks to give at the end of the day. And we do also have big acknowledgments at the end of the year. You know, where we have big celebrations and bring it like an open campus to bring in the community and bring in the parents and just share with us and celebrate what we've been able to accomplish. There's still a lot to be done, And I'm the first to acknowledge that we're not where we want to be yet as a school, but I keep saying as long as we're moving in the right direction, then we're moving. We don't want to be stagnant. And that's my goal, that we just move in the right direction.
Okay, so one more thing. I know that your parents come to your school as well, because I've seen them when they come here. Lots of parents come in, and I know that you have activities for them. How do you consider, what's the level of commitment from the parents?
And I think every parent wants the best for their child. It's just maybe at times they might not know how. And I think that's one of our goals, to tell them how they can still be part of our campus. And I try to tell my parents that language is not a barrier to knowledge, that they have a lot of knowledge that they can share. Mm-hmm. At times they say, well, I can't volunteer because I don't speak the English language. I know, but you speak the Spanish language and you're valued here. And you have a lot to share. You have a lot of gifts and you have a lot of talent. So I invite them to come in and share. There's always opportunities also for them to grow as parents. If they feel that they need something that our school can provide it or a district can provide it, we make them aware that there are opportunities as well. So basically, I think we really need to let the parents know that there are partners, and that we don't want them necessarily to be silent partners, because a lot of parents do work, a lot of parents do have other commitments, and we understand. But I always tell them, as long as you can have a little corner, a little place for them to do their homework, or just to let them know, or just ask them, how was your day? You're our partner. By just letting them know that you are aware of what's going on in the schools. And I tell them, stop by. My school is one of the schools that has a program called 21st Century, or the ACE program after school. And we have our school open, our doors are open till 7 o'clock every day. So a parent knows that they can stop by, and if I'm not here, someone will be here, and they can always get a message to someone. If they need to speak to a teacher, or they need to speak to me or someone else, we'll get their questions answered, or we can get whatever concern they may have addressed.
What has been contagious here in the past? As far as the teachers, you know, what has been contagious from?
Well, contagious is something, for example, like questions about what's going on with 4th and 5th grade. We hear that there's something called IDRA out there, because IDRA initially was a project that we started with our 4th and 5th grade teachers. We started focusing on those transition grades that we call, getting them ready for middle school, getting them ready for the that process of long-term knowledge, and getting them ready for college, okay? And it begins at elementary school. And so one of the things that I think has been contagious is not just what's going on with IDRA with 4th and 5th, but also what's going on with IDRA goes hand in hand with our goal as a district, to make sure that our children are college ready. And that they're not only college ready, and our district is college ready, connected, and complete. Our goal is that every child, okay, has that opportunity. So that's one thing that's really, really contagious, that philosophy now that, you know what, our children are material that can be at college, why not? You know, our children can start thinking about college now. So our question now is not, are you going to college, is where are you going to college? And that's what we ask our kids. Our school has been transformed to a school where we have banners throughout our school of many universities. And we ask our students, do you know where that one is? No, I don't. Well, let's look and see where that university is. They need to know also about other universities besides our local ones that are here in our area, or even within the state of Texas. Because some of our children, we always tell them, you're going to dream big. We don't know what lies ahead for you. So I think that's one thing that's contagious, you know, that what we started initially maybe just focusing on a particular grade level, our district and everything else that we're doing has now made it contagious, so it's something that everyone's talking about, the college connected and college readiness.
That's good. And I know that the teachers the 4th grade teachers are connected with one another, yes, and the 5th grade teachers are connected with one another, and now we know the 4th and 5th are connected with one another. So now we need to work with the lower
grades, yes. And actually, that is one thing that we have in the works. Every year, like I said, is different. And every year we always say, well, what else can we do? We've met the needs of a particular grade, or we've met the needs of a particular need that we had. And one of the things that we have already in the works is to start working with our pre-K and first grade teachers. And the reason being, we keep saying, is if we only get them to have that strong foundation at the beginning, then we wouldn't have some of the challenges that we have when we work with them in the upper grades. And so one of the things that we're working in the works and we're putting together right now is trying to work with the literacy development activities in the lower grades and just language development and language enrichment activities for the lower grades. Because a well-rounded student begins in pre-K, and we even say even in the womb at times, even before they get to our front doorsteps as a 4-year-old, that learning process has already begun.
And you know, there's a lot of research out there that specifically indicates that when students are exposed to language early on and the vocabulary to be at the highest level, the kids can actually pick that language and they can use it in school, and that will help them later on. So the more the students are exposed to literacy, to language development, the better off they're going to be. So that's good. And I know that you have purchased the Semillitas de Aprendizaje series. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, we're very excited. First of all, whenever you get anything that is what we call dual language, we're very excited. We are a dual language district, and we value the fact that a child brings his home language, in this case it might be Spanish, and we build on what he brings. And one of the things that we do is we're always looking for materials that we feel are culturally relevant to the students, and we're looking for materials that we think the children can connect with. And it just so happened that I saw one of the products that was being put out there, and it was Semillitas. Beautiful artwork. It had I read a story about an ostrich, you know, the machaca. Chamaca machaca, and it was a real fun story, but at the same time it was catchy. Those kind of stories you will never forget. Okay, so I showed it to a teacher. She really liked it, and I said, you know what, this is something our kids can connect. She read it to the students, and they loved it. And so that was kind of the springboard to what we have in planned, basically, for next year. And we want to use that culturally relevant material and bring it into the classroom so our children can connect with it. That way they can, it's like bringing their experiences, bringing who they are into the classroom and making those lessons even more relevant. And along with that, it's character building as well. And that's one of the things that we've been building on and focusing on with at our campus, trying to build a well-rounded student academically, emotionally, and just being able to do well, not just in the classroom, but do well just in life.
That's right. I know that we talk about the fact that we want to have the students become teachers of others. And I've seen some of that in the classrooms, specifically with the 5th graders. But we want to expand that now to the kids actually being the teachers to their parents. And that's, like you mentioned, we're going to focus on that next year. And I think that is really, really going to springboard and actually help more the connection between the school and the community. So I look forward to that.
I do too.
Next year to focus on that area along with the lower levels. One more question I have for you is, what advice and words of wisdom would you recommend to others in the field of education?
I think recently we attended a beautiful ceremony, and when we were there, I started reflecting along with those that were there in the audience with us when we acknowledged a particular student at one of the meetings that our mayor and our commissioners had. They asked us to pick a student who possessed qualities that we thought merited being recognized at the city level. And when we put our proclamation together, we said, wow, this is a child who's going to be successful in life. This is a child that we are going to be very proud of in the future, a child that will make Guerra proud. And right there, we started reflecting, you know what, this is the way we should see every child. Should be not just this particular child who had a day in the city named after him, but this should be our goal as teachers, to proclaim that this will be every child that walks into our classrooms and every child that we have the opportunity to put a little of our seed of knowledge into. So one of the things that we did is we started that same proclamation became a proclamation that we're going to be declaring. And if you would allow me, I would like to share that with you as my words of encouragement to all the others who are struggling, at their school to meet the needs of their at-risk students, just like I am. And I get emotional because they are our children, but they are our future too. Mm-hmm. They are the children that, have the opportunity to be the lawyers, be the doctors, be the welders, be whoever they may want to be in life. But we have to, first of all, believe that we're working with the future lawyers, doctors, and welders. And we're going to declare this as our proclamation for next year, and it will read as such. Whereas Guerra Elementary students are all gifted and talented. Whereas Guerra Elementary students are all honor roll students and have high academic achievement. Whereas Guerra Elementary students have all placed at district-sponsored competitions. Whereas Guerra Elementary students have challenged themselves to become critical thinkers and have joined organizations such as Destination Imagination and Robotics. Whereas Guerra Elementary students have high academic achievement on high-stake exams. Whereas Guerra Elementary students are avid readers and members of organizations such as Millionaire Readers Club and Top Accelerated Readers. And whereas Guerra Elementary students are recognized as outstanding science students, we now therefore resolve that the Guerra Elementary teachers and staff and the citizens of the city of Alamo are hereby proud to honor all Guerra Elementary students with this proclamation.
That is so great and so touching. And I really like that you believe and that your faculty believe that all students are capable of doing all of that.
Yes.
That's really commendable.
Yes.
We are glad and extremely happy for the opportunity you have given us to support you as the instruction leader in the engagement, reform, and sustainable efforts that are helping in the transformation of your school and your community. You really are a visionary, courageous change agent who is focused on culturally responsive teaching and learning, and that's really commendable. You have been affirming to teachers, students, and parents. You are always ready, current, and stay connected to innovative trends. So as an administrator, you have been inclusive, you lead by example, and expect the best from all who come in contact with, and you reach to high expectations and standards. You are clear, you demand what's good for kids, you are very resourceful and competent, and you're deeply committed to an exemplary education for all students at Gus Guerra. So at IDRA, we really applaud you for your outstanding servant leadership, and we take pride in recognizing leaders like you. So we will have you on our Equity Hub for others to see the type of work that you do and how important it is for a school leader to believe that this change needs to occur in transforming students for the best opportunities that they can have so that they can be successful and independent learners.
Well, on behalf of my staff, my students, and my parents, I want to thank IDRA for all that they have done to support us. And we've only just begun. Our school motto is soaring to new heights, and I think, just like an eagle, he starts on the lowest level, but he can go so high. I think we've only just begun. I know great things lie ahead for Guerra Elementary, and all we can do is just believe, and we do believe.
Thank you very much for the opportunity again, and best of luck.
Thank you.